this is something that I think we're all pretty excited about because it starts to open up a door into a lot of good safety insights, amongst other things as well. But this is the form submission. So like the FormIQ feature that we're just starting to pilot with a few customers. And when it comes to forms, just as a background, I think a lot of people already know this, but it's good to like kind of separate the different like sections or the different like elements of forms out into, I guess you can call it almost 5 different sections, right? You have like the first key item is a form even required to be submitted? So that's the first thing. And if it is required to be submitted, was it submitted by the right person or the right entity? And then you have content of the form. So is the content on the form accurate? Is it what you require the form to include? And someone has to review that, right? Or something has to review that. You have the enforcement. So, are they abiding by the content that they actually submitted? So if it's a hot work permit, do they have the right fire watch watching? Did they just submit some random person, or is it that actual person watching? So that's another element of it. And the last part is the audit. So, unfortunately, when something happens, you go back and audit all the paperwork, make sure it was all there. Or just as best practice, you might be required to audit on a monthly or a weekly basis. So you have all these different elements that are involved in the forms submission that I think in my experience, in my perspective, is pretty antiquated. So you have some, different solutions that are being proposed to solve this. But with Kwant, because we offer the location element of it, I think that gives us a unique position to be able to provide our own version of digital forms and form tracking. So Jay, do you want to kind of run through what this new feature is going to entail?
Yeah, I think when we started talking about forms, the idea was that how users do forms. So we talked to a lot of our current customers, new customers, prospective customers to understand how they are doing forms on their job sites right now. One of the common line items that we saw was like some forms have been digitized no matter what, but there are a lot of forms which are still paper-based. And they do want to keep it paper-based. They don't want to move
Yeah.
away from that process. They said it's part of construction and also part of the safety process that they feel that like having that paper-based form gives them the validation that they actually took that training, they actually were there, everyone is signing on that document and so on. So we were thinking about where in that process do we fit in? Like how we can still help the job sites to perform faster without eliminating or creating that barrier in the process that, okay, now we are introducing a solution where you have to go digitally fill a form and so on. So we tried to create a simple product where basically sits under the document section. And then, yeah, so you can create any new template. Like let's say I want to create a JHA or a PSA for concrete activities that are supposed to happen on certain floor or some sort of other high risk activities. I can create a new template. I can define my existing conditions that I want, like I want some hazard conditions to be monitored. I want PPE info on the workers. I want to see if when they are filling out this JHA, they have identified what are the hazards and how they're planning to mitigate those hazards. They have identified what is the PP required and all the workers. I want to see who has signed this document. And then you can set up a scheduling email where basically you can select who this JHA, like basically they will get a message and they will be with a link in it. They will get an email and you can select who needs to get this email and what time. You can select multiple time schedules. So like let's say one of our customers said that they collect PSAs every 4 hours. No matter what is happening, it's a requirement that a super safety manager or even the foreman has to fill out this every 4 hours and they need to collect it. So you can select multiple schedules and you can select which JHA needs to go out to which person and so on. So once you schedule this, they will get an email or a message with a link in it. All they need to do to verify is just need to enter their phone number. They will get an OTP and that will verify that this is the correct person who is filling out this JHA. So it's like a passwordless system. They don't need to maintain an app. And every time there is a new JHA, they will get a new JHA link. They can also see and access the other links over there. Once they do that, they can just take a photo of whatever their JHA is and click on submit. Like in this case, let's say Jade Electric, they did their JHA on a whiteboard, and rather than now doing it on a paper or taking a photo, printing it out, sending it along, and so on, they can just simply go Once they are done with the JHA, they can go take a photo of this whiteboard and click on submit. At the point when they click on submit, the app or the web page will show them that these are the conditions that are missing from the JHA. So they can immediately go back rather than clicking on submit. They can go verify those conditions, see what the like the project manager has asked for, do the remaining section and re-upload the photo. Or they can click on submit if they feel like, okay, they have already documented everything that was required, they just need to submit it right now. Now, along with this, once it's done, the project managers can then now go see, approve, reject, say if some info is missing and add the feedback over here. And along with it, it will also give you an extracted text. So basically you can see like whatever was there in the JHA on the whiteboard, you can see it in a text form, you can see it in a form-based submission over here, like what were the safety hazards, what were the PP requirements, when was this filled out, and when was it signed, and so on. You can go, like let's say if somebody missed out something, we are also adding an option where they can go and simply click on the edit icon and edit some of the requirements and so on. So yeah, once this is done, all the paperwork that they were doing, filing over there is now digitized. AI is analyzing for them, and they can simply go ahead with the process. Like one of our customers suggested that they want to use it for ladder permit collections. Say like they collect around 50 to 100 permits for using for ladder usage. It will help them analyze those permits quickly. They simply need, like there are 6 line of conditions that the ladder needs to be secured. They have identified how it needs to be secured and so on. And if those conditions are met, AI will automatically approve it, or it will mark up pending if they feel that some of the information is missing.
Yeah, I think that like in terms of just the administrative work and the administrative effort in collecting these and then documenting who submitted them and then uploading them to wherever you're archiving everything for later use. I mean, I don't see how a project can possibly ensure that all the JHAs are on a daily basis. If you have like a job site with 3,000 workers on it, like some of our job sites too, these massive data centers, how are you ensuring that everyone is submitting their documentation on time unless it's at the very end of the day or like the end of the week? And then at that point, you're basically just doing an audit when something goes wrong to see, did you submit it, not if it was being enforced. Like who's able to enforce these things, right? There's really no accountability.
Yeah, I think one of the part that we are also debating right now, and maybe John, you can based on your feedback with the customers, is like who will be the one who is approving those documents? Does it need to be sent out as a distribution list? And do we also need to show the workers that have not filled out their documents so that they have an idea that there is a document missing today and it was required from those workers?
With just the 2 projects we're piloting, that was like the first thing that came up was it's not a simple process. It's not just like one person that goes around and collects everything and then just like reviews everything and then submits it. It's like some forms have to go to the company's supervisor, that specific sub. Some forms have to go to the safety supervisor, and like that's a specific form that might be a monthly requirement, or just every so often, like you said, like it's not just a recurring thing. Some forms are daily, some forms are just whatever it might be. Toolbox talks, you might have to align it with the workers that are on site. There's a lot of different possibilities. That's why it's not a simple. It's a very complex feature that I think is going to provide a lot of benefits, but also help safety managers and whoever else, supervisors, narrow their focus for what they're trying to enforce and inspect on site, and not be worried about parsing through everything. The AI incorporation in this, I think, could be a really helpful tool to kind of parse through a lot of the stuff and look at a lot more of the riskier activities, or help you identify where some of the risk is on site, because we have the location elements of our product as well. Combining that with the forms is, that's, where my interest is, Jay. That's where my mind always goes, is combining those 2 things. But I think that's on our roadmap, right? To combine those 2 elements.
Yeah, definitely. Like right now, our aim is to reach to the level that we can call it an MVP, and we can release it to a few customers to start working with it, get the feedback, and see what we can do to improve it. Get the what are the requirements that they feel are missing to even call it an MVP right now. So that's what our focus is right now, that how fast and how soon we can give it in the hands of the customers. I think like forms as a whole becomes a very complicated product, and like it will require some time to achieve that and to link it with that exact Kwant data that you can now verify on the basis of the location. Like let's say in this example, Henry Shin, when he filled out the JHA, what was his location on the job site? Because that will provide them a critical insight that when they were doing the JHA, were they even there or not? or somebody just sent them a photo and they just uploaded that.
Exactly. That's why I think the key differentiator is like you have a platform that's a digital platform that can do a lot of what we see. Even like Google Forms can do this, right? You could just have someone submit a Google Forms. But the problem is that you don't have the other insights and you can't derive the other insights unless you have that location element of one, if they were even on site, what part of the site they were on. Things like toolbox talks, if you have everyone that signed on the toolbox talk, if they were on site, and then vice versa, if everyone on site is captured signing on a toolbox talk. So those types of insights, I think that's what makes this actually, in my opinion, what makes it actually useful for anyone that's capturing this. Otherwise, it's just a way to organize
Yeah,
documentation
I think
at the end of the
some of
day.
those requests that will probably come up, like regarding location and everything, that we can definitely
Mhm.
achieve using custom reports for
Yeah.
users. That like we can tag their last seen locations along with the report at the time when they were submitted the document, so we know that they can still view that information. Sooner or later, that will be integrated in this view itself, where you can see what was the last seen location and the document was filled and so on. But I think some of those we can still cater to using some of the custom report modules that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to dive too deeply because I know we have a whole other segment that we're probably going to talk about later on safety, predictive analytics when it comes to safety, right? And what you were kind of alluding to by pulling into the schedule, looking at the different activities, and pulling in some public documentation as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty exciting. We have a lot more that's on our plate, or a lot more on our roadmap. We're excited to share. But I mean, we hope that everyone enjoyed this segment. Takes a look at some of the features that we have coming out, and like always, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us anytime. And thank you for listening.